230 to 239. You are right on the cusp of passing this exam. If you're a person that has consistently scored 230, between 230 and 239, I can tell you that you do not have a content problem. Your problem or your solution is not to go study more content. I can almost guarantee you, based on the research that I have done and the people that I have spoken to, the reason why you're leaking points is because you second guess yourself. You will be reading a question on the exam and your intuition says, oh, this is the right answer. But then you're like, oh, maybe it's this answer. And that second guessing is costing you points. So think about your last constant exam attempt. And I want you to think about this really hard. How many times did you get to a question and there were two very similar or could be correct answers? And instead of going with your first answer, the one that your gut says, you went back and switched your answer. And that is probably the reason why you are leaking some points from your constant exam. And the reason that you changed that answer is not because you learned new information. It's because that original answer started to, for some reason, feel wrong. It didn't feel like the nice teacher response, so you decided to change it. When you change an answer based on a feeling, more often than not, you are changing a right answer to wrong. And that is how second guessing works under pressure. And as we have talked about before, that testing room environment is set up to crank up the pressure. So, based on my research, I want to tell you one rule, and the only rule that you need to follow when you are thinking about changing an answer. You can only change an answer if you can name the exact reason out loud. Why are you changing this answer? Did you reread the question and find additional information that you missed before? That is the reason and the only reason that you should go back and change your answer, because you have found some new information by rereading the text or the question that you didn't find before. If you are changing the answer based on a feeling, do not. If you are changing the answer because something about it just bugs you, do not. That is just anxiety, and that is anxiety wearing a costume. Trust your first instinct. That is typically the right instinct. Anytime you are thinking about going back to change an answer, ask yourself, do I know why I want to change this answer?